line from the du'as of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And I thought about it before I went to bed. One line. Or I recited 5 verses of the Quran every single day. 5 verses. 5 the Arabic. You read the English, how long is it going to take? 1 minute and 30 seconds? 90 seconds? You recite 3 verses of the Quran and you try to extract 1 lesson every day. Possible or not possible? How long is it going to take? You could do it while you're driving, you could do it while you're walking. If every single one of us, individually, dedicated 3 minutes toward learning, towards studying, towards some sort of practical implementation of that which we learn and that which we study, the opportunity for growth is tremendous. You know, we talk about Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen and we have Nahj al-Balagha and all of these amazing lines from the Imam Salamullah alayhi. How many of us have read Nahj al-Balagha? From cover to cover. You don't have to read it cover to cover. Just go to the saying section. Every day you read one of the sayings of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. Think about it for 5 minutes and then that's it, done. Do it in the morning, do it in the afternoon, do it at night, do it whenever. But all it takes is small efforts of actionable items that we commit to. And again, it cultivates and sort of it injects this notion of guide centricity the rest of the day. Really, we have in one of the ziyarat of Imam Ali al-Hadi, Ziyarat Jama al-Kabira, we state, Ya Ahl Bayt al-Nubuwa kalamukum nur wa amrukum rushd. That your words are a light. What's the purpose of a light? The purpose of the light is to illuminate the room. The purpose of the words of Ahlul Bayt are to illuminate the hearts. To read these words, to be moved by them. We take inspiration from them. We fall in love with the beauty of their words. All it takes is the smallest effort, 1 minute a day, 2 minutes a day, 3 minutes a day in dedication. Even if we just reflect upon the du'as after Maghrib prayers or after Isha or after Dhuhr or after Asr, read the English with it. Take one sort of takeaway from it and seek to implement that during the course of your life. And again, slowly we'll begin to supplement ourselves with this notion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's remembrance in the midst of all of the distractions. We're fortifying ourselves intellectually by learning. Then number 2, we're committing to it practically. So we're mindful of it when we're walking, when we're in the workplace, when that guy is going to get the coffee in between the majalis. He's thinking about these things subconsciously and they're cultivating him and us in a very unique way. And thirdly, my friends, and I'll conclude, I think I took too much time, that is to link ourselves with Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the best of creation. Because through their remembrance, not only intellectually, not only by reading their words, but emotionally as well, in the way that we do in these gatherings, they're sort of, again, this magnetic pull that consistently brings us back, particularly in gatherings like these ones. To come to the majalis, to dedicate a little bit of time during these couple of weeks and months in which we recollect the tragedy of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, to attend Dua Kumail, to go to Jummah khutbah, whatever it might be, to do our best to supplement our days with their remembrance alayhim salatu wasalam. Because again, they're so inspiring. And their lives, we see ourselves sort of taking inspiration from them all the time. The more that we know, the more that we connect, the more that we visit them by performing their ziyarat, we carry these things with us. They become a part of us. And again, it allows for us to find that balance because we realize that they also were bound by the distractions of this dunya. Or their companions and their closest confidants saw these real life struggles in front of their eyes. Hur al-Riyahi, what does he state? Inni ara nafsi bayna jannati wa nar. I see myself between paradise and I see myself between the fires of hell. He sees the struggle of this dunya. Umar ibn Sa'ad, what does he say? He states that I know exactly who you are, O Aba Abdullah, and I know who is your father, and I know who is your mother, and I know who is your grandfather. But there's something for me. The governorship of Ray, some wealth, some power, some authority. So I'm going to kill you and then I'm going to seek forgiveness after. That justification allows for him to do what he does. And on the flip side, the loyalty and the devotion and the emotion that those companions had to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, it cultivates a sense of God consciousness in the most trying and in the most difficult moments. Which is why on these days we are compelled, we are called to, we are encouraged by the Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam to remember this tragedy early, to remember this tragedy often. Because again, that magnetic sort of pull that they have alayhim salatu wasalam cultivates that desire and allows for that fire to burn within our hearts, such that we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through their lens, through their hearts. And we are drawn closer to the Lord of the worlds in the midst of everything that we have to go through. I'll leave you with this, my friends. That when Imam al-Hussein, alayhi salatu wassalam, he had to depart his family members after every one of his companions had been killed, he went to go and bid farewell to the women, as we recite on the night or on the day of Ashura. He sees Zainab, and he sees Kulthum, and he sees Rabab, and he sees Layla, he sees Farwa. And he states, alaykunna minna salam. This is my last farewell, O my women, O my children. And when he was exiting, there was one of his daughters who was sitting on the side, and she was overwhelmed with emotion, and she refused to embrace her father, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. One of the reports states that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam goes towards Sukaina. He sits down, he embraces her, he puts her on her lap and says, "Oh my daughter, everyone else is saying bye to me, everyone else is bidding me farewell. How come you don't?" She says, "Oh my father, that any time that anyone from amongst the family, my brothers and my cousins and my uncles, they entered into this tent and they said bye to everyone, they never returned. So I don't want to say bye to you. Unless you're going to come back." What is Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam going to say to his daughter? He can't make a false promise. So one of the reports states that the Imam alayhi salam, he hugs her and he says, "Baba, what is it that you want? Anything that you want, you got it. You know, a father has unique love for his daughter in this way. Anything that you want, I'll give it to you." You know what she says? She says, "Oh my father, I want to go back to Medina." Which is why it is stated that on the night of the 11th of Muharram, after Lady Zainab alayhi salatu wasalam, she had gathered together all of the women and children, after there was a little bit of water, and after there was a little bit of food, and after there was a little bit of drink, she realizes that one of these children are missing. So it is said that Lady Zainab, she tells Kulthum that the daughter of Hussein is missing, my niece, let me go and find her. From a distance, of course, she sees Sukaina sleeping on the chest of her father, Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. At this moment, Lady Zainab alayhi salam, she goes to her, she embraces her, she picks her up. She says, "Oh Sukaina, we have food, we have drink, we have water back in the tents. Why are you coming out over here?" At this moment, Sukaina says, "Oh my aunt, I could never sleep unless I slept on the chest of my father, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein." At this moment, Lady Zainab alayhi salam, she's perplexed. She says, "Oh my daughter Sukaina, how did you even know that that was the body of your father, Abu Abdullah? In what state? A body that didn't have a head, a body that had its limbs severed, a body that had been trampled by horses and it was etched into the plains of Karbala." Sukaina, she utters two statements. She says, "Oh my aunt Zainab, two things. Number one, I smelt the fragrance from his chest, and I know that fragrance because I always slept next to my father." What was number two? Sukaina, she states that number two is that when I was looking for him, I heard a call coming out. "Shi'ati mahma sharibtum adba ma'in fadhkuruni, aw sami'tum bigharibin, aw qatilin fandubuni." Oh my Shia, that whenever you take a sip of water, then remember my thirst. And whenever you hear of any tragedy, then remember my tragedy. Ala la'natullah ala al-qawm al-zalimin. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. With grief in our hearts, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us a life that resembles the life of Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, and to grant us a death that resembles the death of Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to never separate us from Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam in this life, and his shafa'a in dunya and in the barzakh and in the akhirah, برحمتك ya arhamar rahimin. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi al-tahirin. If I could ask you all to recite one surah al-Fatiha, but before that, one salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Wa salli ala Muhammad.
जब रदा सर से चुनी मैं सदा देती रही तू ना आया गाजी جب ردا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا آل عمران کہاں اور زندان کہاں لے بہن قید ہوئی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی ہم کو پانی نہ ملے تیری خوشبو تو رہے تیرے بازو نہ کٹے چاہے مشکی زچ دے یہ مگر ہو نہ سکا تیرے بازو ہے جدا مجھ پہ ہے تشنا لبی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی کیا سکینہ سے کہوں اے میرے دل کے سکون ہائے پانی کے لیے بہہ گیا سب تیرا خون اب کوئی آس نہیں تو میرے پاس نہیں رسی شانوں میں بندھی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب چلی شہر پہ چھری اے میرے شیر جری ہاتھ ملتی تھی بہن کچھ قدم دور کھڑی کٹ گیا شہر کا گلا ہائے بھائی نے صدا مجھ کو ہر ضرب پہ دی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی قید خانے میں قضا جب سکینہ کو ملی دیکھ کے کرتے کا کفن بچی دفنائی گئی اس گھری نام تیرا صورت ناد علی بس میں دہراتی رہی تو نہ آیا سر سے چنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی
کہتی تھی یہ ماں خوبری میں یاد سے لپٹ کر ہے علی اکبر ہے علی اکبر ہے علی اکبر ارمان تو پہناؤں گی پوشاک شہانی ارمان تو پہناؤں گی پوشاک شہانی افسوس کہ راس آئی نہ تجھے کوئی جوانی کیسا تھا مقدر ہے علی اکبر ہے علی اکبر کہتی تھی ماں خوبری میں یا سے لپٹ کر ہے ہائے اتنا تو ذرا ٹھہرو تمہیں دولہا بنا لوں اتنا
تو ذرا ٹھہرو تمہیں دولہا بنا لوں
بس ایک جھلک شہر کی سغرا کو دکھا لوں بے چین تھی خواہر ہے ہائے علی اکبر ہے ہائے علی اکبر کہتی تھی ماں خوبری میں یا سے لپٹ کر اٹھارہ برس پالک کی پروان چرایا 18 برس پالک
کے پروان چڑھایا
وہ گیس ہوا ہے میرا خون میں نہایا یہ کیا ہوا دلبر ہے ہائے علی اکبر ہے ہائے علی اکبر کہتی تھی ماں خوبری میں یس جب کوئی جوان لاش نظر آتی ہے محشر جب کوئی
جوان لاش نظر آتی ہے محشر
ایک یاد سوئے کرب و بلا جاتی ہے محشر دل روتا ہے کہہ کر ہے ہائے علی اکبر
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا نبي الله السلام عليك يا محمد بن عبد الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا سيد الوسيين السلام عليك يا علي بن أبي طالب السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء السلام عليك يا سيدة النساء العالمين السلام عليك يا أبا محمد السلام عليك يا سيد شباب أهل الجنة السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين السجاد السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الباقر السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الجواد السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد الهادي السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي العسكري السلام عليك يا حجة بن الحسن المهدي السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
مومن و مومنات ایک سورہ فاتحہ کی درخواست کی گئی ہے محمد اکرام خان، شمیم اختر، شیخ شوکت علی، شیخ لیاقت علی، ممتاز فاطمہ شیخ، محمد اسلم اور کل مومن اور مومنات کے لیے. اور اس کے ساتھ ہی مومنات یہ اعلان سماعت فرما لیں، کل رفعت شیخ محترمہ رفعت شیخ صاحبہ کے ہیں مجلس ازا منعقد ہو رہی جو کہ 3 PM پہ شروع کر دی جائے گی، تمام مومنات سے شرکت کی درخواست ہے۔ اور مومن اور مومنات یہ بھی اعلان سماعت فرما لیں، کمنگ سیٹرڈے کو جولائی 19 کو یہاں پہ شب داری منعقد کی جا رہی ہے، تمام مومن اور مومنات سے شرکت کی درخواست ہے۔ آپ کو پروگرام بھیج دیا گیا، 7:30 بجے اور ڈنر اسٹارٹ کر دیا جائے گا، تو آپ لوگ اور جو کہ پاکستان سے نو خان صفدر عباس تشریف لا رہے ہیں نو خانی کے لیے، آپ تمام مومن اور مومنات سے شرکت کی درخواست ہے۔ بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات۔ اگر تھوڑی باقی لگا دو تو پورا ہفتہ پروگرام بیٹری اگر لگانی تو لگا دو۔